Then Mark Amadei came out and he had dropped a YouTube video of a live stream of him on a committee. And I would like to now state unequivocally that I think his story checks out.
I'm surprised she even acknowledged this thing about the congressman. Maybe he threatened legal action. I don't know. Maybe that's what got her to do it. That's just me speculating. We've got to check in with Candace Owens, the very popular YouTube star. And I do call her right-wing sometimes. People in the comments are like, she's not right-wing. Somebody said it, and I thought this was kind of funny. She's not far right or far left. She's far gone. And I see your point. I understand. But I try to call people what they call themselves in a spirit of generosity and fairness. And Candace Owens calls herself a conservative. So I still do refer to her as right wing. So anyway, however you want to label her, Candace Owens is back at it and making some very, very strange claims about people at Turning Point USA, apparently being cyborgs. But she also just made a huge admission. She admitted to a huge mistake that she broadcast as part of her Charlie Kirk theories about the true nature of the assassination, and yet then just immediately kept it moving. We're going to unpack all of it. First, I just want to play for you this very strange clip where Candace appears to suggest that they're robots.
The dark future that everyone's always predicting, like the AI future, it's here. We're actually here. I think that we are fighting machines. I think that these people are not humans, that they're sentinels that maybe look like humans. That's how I feel. Like they don't know how to behave like humans. You know what I mean? Like we're fighting an algorithm. Everything feels weird and wrong. That's why I kept saying last year that everything is fake and gay. It feels like we're watching a movie. It feels like we're all in the Truman Show and everyone around us are actually robots. When Barry Weiss goes home at night, she just plugs herself into the wall to charge. That's how I feel. I just feel like we're just different. I don't know what species that is or what computer program that is, but I can't relate to that. How many of us humans are left? That's my energy in this year. How many humans are actually left? Because I think the war is already happening. Society's being run by incredibly evil people, and it's been happening for a very long time. And I don't really care about the new iPhone that's dropping. I don't care if you got into Mar-a-Lago last night. There's something more important that's happening here. And the droids keep droiding.
The droids keep droiding. So mixed feelings on this, because a lot of people online are taking this clip and running with it and saying like, look how crazy Candace is. She thinks that there's humanoid robots. And in fairness to that interpretation, Candace believes some crazy stuff. She doesn't believe dinosaurs are real. She thinks a lot of wild stuff and has, in my view, lost touch with reality a bit. But I can't decide whether she means this literally or figuratively. Is she actually suggesting that there are human cyborgs at Turning Point USA? Because or is she saying that they just like are fake people and they're robots, and in terms of like as a comparison, not meant literally? But I think it might be literal, because she's said this in the past about, for example, Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and other like tech bro billionaire types. And in that case, it really did sound literal. So I'll just play you a clip of her speaking about that.
I'm telling you, I don't even think these people are human. Like I look at Elon Musk and Sam Altman and Peter Thiel, and I'm pretty sure they're hybrid. You know what I mean? Like they just look like an Apple software that I should be able to download at night, you know, like my phone's getting an update or something. It's something in the eyes. Like, I don't know. I'm like, I know I'm human, but I don't know if I stabbed you, if you bleed, you know, I'm not going to stab them, but I don't know if they bleed all the way. I think a battery would fall out.
So, wow. She really is just always interesting to listen to. But again, I'm not quite 100% sure whether this is meant literally, but I'll hold out some space, try to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's not literally that crazy. She's not actually suggesting they're literally cyborgs, and she's just trying to make a point. But I will say this, regardless, I think this is pretty reckless language. I mean, we're in this time of rising political violence. All of the people that she mentioned, whether it's Elon Musk or Barry Weiss, have to have security teams at all times because they face threats to their life and people who want to kill them and find them and hurt them. And you're like dehumanizing them, suggesting they are robots or not fully human and calling them evil. It's just a dangerous way to talk about people, even people whom you really strongly object to. I think we all need to chill and stop this. Stop demonizing and dehumanizing our political opponents. So I understand why people are making a lot of this clip. I really do. I don't think it's meant literally. Actually, I think it could be, but I'm not sure. And I want to try to be fair to Candace. I know I cover her and I criticize her, but I'm not trying to be unfair to her. So in the spirit of charitability, I'm going to choose to interpret this as she doesn't mean this literally. Because if she actually thinks these people are human cyborgs, then she's totally lost the plot. That is obviously not true. But in the spirit of fairness, I'll say, okay, even as a comparison, even just as a rhetorical tool, can we not suggest that our political opponents are subhuman? Right? That's the kind of dehumanizing language that contributed to a political atmosphere where people tried to kill Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump and all these other things. And unfortunately, tragically, did kill Charlie Kirk. So I think we all need to take a step back, take a deep breath, and remember that Twitter beefs and fights between content creators and all of this is not that deep. A lot of it is just drama. And I just always think we should avoid dehumanizing people. What do you guys think, though? I want to hear from you. And we're about to get to the part where Candace admits to a huge mistake in her investigation into Charlie Kirk's murder. First, though, do make sure you're subscribed. Do hit the like button while you're at it. Support the content. And please, if you can, consider becoming a channel member here on YouTube to support my work. We've got over 250 of you signed up. But this is the best way to help me stay independent so I can punch left and punch right metaphorically, not literally. We don't do that. I'm just trying to stay sane here, people, and not go into the violent, dehumanizing, charged rhetoric and just give you a balanced perspective. The best way to help me do that so I don't have to pander to the YouTube algorithm is to become a channel member. Click the link in the description or the pinned comment. Now, let's get to the part where Candace just admitted it. She just admitted that her big eyewitness to her theory about the military fort and this guy Mitch that she brought on, that he got an identification wrong. And he actually got many identifications wrong, but she has now admitted to one of them. First, I want to just play you a clip where Candace and her guest quite clearly implicated a member of the United States Congress in their conspiracy theory about a meeting at Fort Huachuca that a couple days before Charlie was killed, where they said all these important people were meeting there and he saw it and he was 100% certain about who he saw. Well, apparently he needs to get some glasses because the people that he saw have alibis. And Candace, one of them's so clear, he's on video in the house. This congressman she identified and suggested to Mitch was involved, that he's on footage that even she's now admitting it. First, here's the clip of their original discussion where they implicate these people. Let's watch.
Because we did look through some congressmen, and I didn't tell you where they were congressmen from, but there is one that you thought looked familiar. And I am going to show that picture of him now. This is, and Skylar, someone's got to get in my ear because I'm blanking on his name. Mark Amodi. Is that right? Mark Amodi from Las Vegas. And you thought that this could potentially be the congressman that you saw on the 9th?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
what
the one that walked
percentage?
closest to me.
That's the one that walked closest to you.
That's 95. I'm absolutely, after I've looked at it, that was definitely the
guy. Narrator, it was not, in fact, definitely the guy, because that guy was at Washington, D.C., at the House of Representatives, engaged in a hearing on camera when this supposed military base meeting was happening. But Mitch, the very credible eyewitness, identified. So he came out with these receipts, the congressman did, called out Candace, provided proof of where he was when this all supposedly went down. And even she has now had to admit that Mitch is not a credible eyewitness and that the person he had claimed to have seen with near certainty, you heard him in the clip, wasn't in fact there. But rather than reevaluating the plot or the theory, she seems to think that, well, okay, maybe it was just a different congressman, but we'll keep moving with this theory, which is not great. But at least she did admit to a major mistake. Let's listen to that.
Now, regarding Mark Amadei, you will remember that Mitch had described a person who he was sure was a congressman. He felt that it was a congressman. And I told you that we looked up a congressman that fit the description of what he was telling us: 5'9", glasses, grayish white hair. And we came up with Mark Amadei, and he said that face looks familiar. Then Mark Amadei came out and he had dropped a YouTube video of a live stream of him on a committee. And I would like to now state unequivocally that I think his story checks out.
So I listened to this full episode, and it's important to acknowledge what Candace did say. She admits that this congressman, Mark Amodei, or Amodei, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, was in D.C. and was not, in fact, at Fort Huachuca, even though her eyewitness, her star informant, very clearly, strongly identified him as being there. Other people that she still has claimed, like Cabot Phillips, this guy says that he saw the Daily Wire guy, who I believe was Erica Kirk's former boyfriend. He says he saw him there. Cabot has dropped receipts and an alibi proving he wasn't there and sent them to Candace personally, gave her everything she requested. Still, and she might do it by the time you see this, maybe she'll have come out and done it. As of today, no apology to Cabot, no correction that he wasn't involved, just casually implicating people in a murder plot. No big deal. Same, she never apologized to this congressman. She never said, "We are so sorry for this mistake. We correct the record. He was not involved. He was in D.C." She just said, yeah, he dropped the video and his story checks out. So maybe it wasn't him. And then she started suggesting other people that were involved and just moved on to the plot. That is not an investigation. That is not honest investigative journalism. To implicate people in a murder plot with an eyewitness who says he's almost certain that was them, get totally debunked, briefly acknowledge it, and move on to the next plot. Hello? We're not going to take any accountability. We're not going to correct the record more thoroughly. And she's still sticking with the Fort Huachuca thing. And she's still trusting Mitch as an eyewitness for the other people he identified, even though he was almost certain, and this one was totally wrong. Same with Cabot. Erica Kirk has provided her with an alibi. Other people, the TPUSA officials she's identified and said we're at this supposed meeting that totally definitely happened. They all have provided different forms of alibis. Some of them are exhaustive. Some of them are not conclusive. But anyway, then, as we talked about before, she uses the fact that they provided alibis as evidence against them. But also, if they don't respond, then their silence is deafening and so suspicious, so you can't win. And then even when they provide this, she only briefly moves. She just keeps it moving. This is really serious stuff that she is accusing people of. Being involved in murder plots against Charlie Kirk. And she is not and hasn't been, I think, since the beginning, but at least for a very long time, treating it with even a modicum of the seriousness of which it just demands, it needs, when you are making these kinds of accusations that could destroy someone's life and career, when you have this platform of millions of people that tune into you, who, many of whom go and harass these people that you talk about and identify and call, non-human robots and suggest that, oh, maybe he was there. We're certain. Oh, we got our eyewitness. Oh, that got debunked. Nope, new story here. Like, this is not okay. I'm sorry, but she's not just asking questions. She's making wild accusations, platforming crazy people. This Mitch Snow guy has no idea what's going on, has made all sorts of claims that have been debunked, has a very sketchy past that Candace refuses to really acknowledge or grapple with. And yes, she presents it all as fact. And when things start to fall apart, she just shifts the goalposts. She just moves along. So, for example, we're still all waiting on all that updated data. After her Egyptian planes data spreadsheet got debunked and dissected, she promised an updated one. Hasn't talked about it since. Just moving on. You guys, you see the game here that she's playing, where she's just moving the goalposts. So you can't pin her down on any mistake. And I'm surprised she even acknowledged this thing about the congressman. Maybe he threatened legal action. I don't know. Maybe that's what got her to do it. That's just me speculating. I don't know for sure. And unlike her, I won't suggest facts that I can't prove or show. But it's surprising to me she even admitted that much. I guess I have to give her credit for acknowledging the mistake a little bit, but she didn't even apologize. And then she doesn't seem to have learned because she's still taking Mitch seriously. And she's still running with this plot about the eyewitness who saw this meeting at Fort Huachuca, and yet not realizing that if the eyewitness got this key identification wrong, he might have got all the other ones wrong. He might just be saying shit and just making shit up or be a crazy person or not in touch with reality. That thought hasn't crossed her mind. I don't know, man. I find this crazy, but crazier, I find the fact that people are just like not fazed by it. Her fans, her viewers that tune in are just like, yeah, okay, let's keep it moving. You are supposed to, when people betray your trust, react accordingly and stop trusting them as a source for information. But with Candace, people just seem to not care. I don't know. I find it very concerning, but all I can do is use my small platform and my small little island of sanity here. I mean, she gets like 3 million views on a stream. I'm hoping that's more than I do in a month. But all I can do is try to correct the record and be fair and honest. You guys let me know what you think. Are you surprised that she admitted any fault? I'm still a little surprised, but do you agree with me that she hasn't gone nearly far enough in terms of correcting the record and handling her investigation with integrity? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed, and please consider becoming a channel member if you can to support my content.